So off camera, we just finished the hardest part of my training. I usually don't record that. I don't share everything that I do or know. And now we're going to get into something that's just fun for me. And we usually end every training session with just doodling. So I'm using the 5.5 inch Voyagers I carry all the time. Luke's using a 11.5 inch Matches Bowie and a 7 inch Yukon Tanto. So in noodling, I'm not going super fast. I got lucky. Look at that, baby. Luke seldom does that, by the way. What happened today, Luke?
Oh, nothing.
Was it a skill or pure luck? I say pure luck.
It's pure luck, honestly, just because we went kind of hard, and I'm honestly a little bit tired now.
Yeah, the hardest part is very tiring. You know, I don't blame anybody for being exhausted after they go through one of my normal training sessions. Because it is bad. Now, how did I get that? I posed here. He came out partially to meet me. I went over the top and cut the top of his hand. But I had to draw him out. I had to pose and bring him out where I thought maybe I could land it. Now, what did I do there? Something I often do. I posed, I went high, I dropped as he came forward, I dropped and I stabbed up. This is all of his fun stuff that you get to do when you're noodling. It's a lot harder. This is where you get a chance to practice it. When you're really fighting, you're really fighting. And that's when the elements come out that you've done all your training and all your noodling, especially if you're fighting for points. We usually fight for 5 points. And bouts of 5. We started this program back in 2002 when I started training with Anthony DeLongis and Professor Jason Heck. Is that normal in saber fencing, 5 points? Is that where we got it from?
In some cases, yeah.
So anyways, I normally fight for points when I'm really fighting. And the doodling allows you to take chances you wouldn't want to take fighting. Now there, I made a motion here that was big, and I drew him, and by the grace of God, I cut him here. Sometimes the noodling allows you to experiment with stuff that you would never do in a real fight. But when you noodle, there, he stabbed me in the hand. When you noodle long enough, you find out that they're sticking in the fingers. You find out that you can pull this stuff off quite often. Like that. How did I get that? I saw him raise that hand. When he raised that hand, I stabbed it. If you hold your hand a microsecond, anywhere still, I'm going to probably have a go. See? He raised it there again. Now, he was almost on me. That was close. But I slashed my face and I pushed it off. And because I have a Voyager, look at it, buy a cold steel 5.5 inch Vaquero or Tanto or clip point boulder. It's strong enough that someone slashes with you can push him with the back of the blade, you can slap him with the side of the blade, and not worry about the darn thing folding and closing on your hands. You can't do that with other brands. The only one you can trust your life to, in my opinion, is cold steel. I've tried to do my best, even though I don't own cold steel anymore, to make sure that my friends that manufacture cold steel have kept up with the quality control and the testing so that you can continue to rely on that strength, the incomparable strength of that tri-lock. Now, Dimco's shark lock is enormously strong too. I dare say anything, there's his lock that he uses for the what is it, AR, you know the folding one, what's that called? What do you carry? 8015.
8015.
What's that lock? I can't remember. Scorpion lock?
Yes.
The Scorpion lock, very, very strong and trustworthy. But because I did so much bass testing when I owned Cold Steel, I really had an unlimited budget to buy whatever I wanted. And I bought all kinds of stuff and tested it. And I was almost always sorely disappointed. I'll tell you one night that really surprised me was a Kershaw assistant opener had a leaf spring lock, and that thing was tough. That thing held over 100 pounds, and we couldn't overcome it even with 30 pounds on the shock testing machine. So there's a few knives that I've seen that I would definitely trust. There's some bench-made axis locks. There's some spider knives that are pretty good. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but when I first started Cold Steel, I didn't make folding knives, and I carried a Spyderco police model from about 1981 or 82 when they first came out, clear into the mid-80s. Mid-88 was probably the 88, 89 is the last time I carried one. And they actually sent me one with, I think my number was number 34 engraved on it. And I carried the crap out of that knife. And I never really tested it, but I will test it in the future to just see how strong it is. But that was the knife that I carried a lot. When they first made it, the edges were too sharp on the handle, and I talked to Sal and said, "Hey Sal, why don't you roll these edges over and make them so much more comfortable?" He did that. Then he made the aluminum model. I don't know if they still make the aluminum model. That was my favorite. And it's nice and pointy. It's got a beautiful serrated edge. I cut the little crap out of stuff. I think it's plenty strong enough to stab with. I just don't know that it even begins to approach the strength of a Voyager. Maybe I'll do a test on that later. I would love to see them make that even stronger. Ah! You got me! Sorry, you never got that. No, it's all right. I was lazy talking. I picked up one. I just walked out in.
I don't know how to think about knife fighting. I was in forward motion. So Lynn didn't only get the stab, he got my forward step. So that hurts. And we don't want to hurt our training partners. So if I feel something dig in or hit kind of hard, I always feel really bad because, yeah, we're training, we're not doing ballet, but I like taking care of, you know, wherever I'm knife fighting.
Here's the reason why I don't wear protective gears, for that reason. I want to feel the pain. I'm not a masochist or anything, but I want to feel that pain to remind me of what a huge screw up that was. I was, pick one up, all relaxed. He walked it in, it wasn't even that fast. I just watched it and hit me. And I felt so stupid. And then I picked up all those were harder than what he just did to me. And you know, you're going to get fainted out of position a lot. And you're going to have to recover. You're going to have to come out with this fake sometimes. You're going to have to see it. Oh! And there, I was able to dope it, what he was going to do. I got inside that big blade, clashed him hard on the hand. The more you practice with these short blades against longer blades, the better you're going to get. I found that 5.5 inches or 5 inches is probably the minimum that you're going to have much success against a longer blade. When I get down to 3-inch and 4-inch blades, and I give up 5 inches and 6 inches of reach, it's a world of hurt for me. Very hard. That 5 inches is still long enough for me to parry that. Pick that up. Now, did I pick all those up? Yes. If I'm intellectually honest, twice I got cut. The last one, I picked it up, it landed on my thumb. Not hard, but if that thing was sharp, my thumb would have been cut 1/8 of an inch deep. I'd be bleeding. You're going to be bleeding all the time from your hands with short blades. You got 5.5 inch Voyagers, I guarantee it's inevitable that something isn't going to rise down. You have to parry it like this and come down on your hand. Now there, I just stuck it out. I pick it up, now he pulls. I stopped it, but he pulled. There, I got my hand all right. You will get better though at stopping it and turning it like I did there, or backing it better hang on to these things because your life depends on it, and you better be ready to endure annoying minor to moderate cuts on your hands.